Do you ever wonder how we learned how to shoot a basketball? Like, how do we go from this
Bruh.
to this?
Nice.
Who was the first person to come up with the idea of placing your palm here, making a T with your thumbs, and then using your offhand as just a guide as you shoot the ball with one hand? Well, I did a little digging and here's what I found out. So we all know that basketball was invented by the Canadian-American physician and sports coach James Naismith during the final years of the 1800s. But in Dr. Naismith's original 13 rules, there's no mention of how a ball should be shot. It simply states that a goal shall be made when the ball is thrown or batted from the grounds into the basket. So, as you might imagine, basketballs were being flung at the rim in a lot of different ways during the early years of the sport. Variations of the modern layup existed, but jump shots weren't really a thing. Instead, two-handed set shots with the player's feet firmly planted to the ground like this were very much the norm. It wasn't until a man by the name of Kenny Sailors came along in 1943 and quite literally changed the game. By the way, shout out to Karen Given, who did a great job of covering this topic in an episode of the WBUR radio show back in 2016. If you want to read the full history of Kenny Sailors, then please go check out the description below and check out the full episode by Karen Given. Sailors had apparently come up with the one-handed shot in an effort to beat his much taller brother in a game of one-on-one, saying, "I never could get a shot off," and he really enjoyed that because he was 6'5" and I was just about, 5'7" probably. He'd laugh and he'd say, "Kenny, this isn't the game for you, it's for big men, tall men." It was soon after that when little Kenny figured out that if he jumped right as he got close to his brother and shot the ball at the peak of his jump, he could get it over his brother and to the rim. Though it sounds so simple nowadays, you gotta understand, this is the early 1930s we're talking about. Even when Sailors made it to the NBA, his first head coach called the shot the leap-in one-hander and said to him that you just never make it in this league with that kind of a shot. I'll show you how to shoot a good two-handed set shot. Sailors passed away in 2016 at the age of 95, and though he has yet to be inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame, a ridiculous omission that needs to be rectified, his legacy will live on as being one of the pioneers of the game we all love, whose influence is arguably second to none. If you like these sort of deep dives into basketball, video games, and movies, then follow for more.